What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Great Men with Shane Sams. I am your host, Shane Sams, and I have a great man with me today. He's a close personal friend of mine. I have known him for a long time, back in my flipped lifestyle days. This guy was an incredible member of our community, building businesses, writing books, doing some cool stuff. And also, we share an affinity for professional wrestling culture that goes deep into our souls. And I've been able to watch this incredible human being build an amazing career in the wrestling world as a WWE referee. And we have spent a lot of time together out on the road. And I count him as one of my great friends, Dan Engler. Welcome to the program, my friend.
Shane, thank you so much, man. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Dude, I know we text each other all the time and we're like, when are we going to be in the same city? But the problem is we're always in a different city working. You know what I'm saying?
When I'm near you, you're off traveling somewhere, and then vice versa, and it's crazy.
Dude, I love it when you'll text me and you'll be like, I'm literally going to be in your hometown for a show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's fine because I'm in your hometown at a show.
Yeah.
And like coordinating those things is
Yeah.
crazy. So like, hey man, let me ask you a question. Like looking back, you know what I'm saying? Like at your journey, first and foremost, go back to the Rudy Charles days, go
Yes,
back
sir.
to the old school days working in armories and all this good stuff. Like how does one even come up with a goal, to a vision to be a professional wrestling referee? Because most people I would bet in your life were like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Like how'd
Oh,
that all
yeah.
come to be, man?
Yeah. People thought I was crazy. In high school, I started refereeing soccer when I was in the 8th grade, and I would go to the wrestling matches here in Evansville, Indiana, where I grew up, and I'm back here now too. Been back for a while, but I would go and just watch the referees. From refereeing soccer, I'd kind of, all right, that's what my focus was. I'd watch the wrestling matches and see what the referees do. I was like, oh, I remember my senior year of high school, I'm at the show with my friend Sheila, and I said, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun to do. And she said, well, go talk to the referee. No, come on. She said, yeah, go talk to him. I was like, okay. So I owe pretty much everything to her and just her encouragement. She's still a dear friend of mine. Her and her husband, Rick, some of my best friends. And they live just down the road from me. But she encouraged me to go talk to the referee. So that's kind of how I got started. And I just did the local stuff around Indiana and Kentucky. And I remember just sitting, as I remember being at home one day, just thinking to myself, and I don't know why this popped in my head, is like, there's not a lot of people who get to be a WWE referee for a living,
Mm,
but maybe I could be one of them, and
mm.
it just planted that seed. And this is before TNA wrestling ever started, before Rudy Charles. This is just when I was, regular old Dan Engler in the independent days of Evansville at the Coliseum.
What year was it when you kind of started
I
doing
started
the
in
local stuff?
96. Yeah,
Wow.
1996.
So this
Yeah.
is at the height of when this is right when the Monday Night Wars are kicking
Oh, yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
WCW and WWF at the time were just
Yeah.
taking over the world on
Yeah.
television, man.
Yeah. It was a fun time to be a fan and just to be in the business. And, we had some great talent coming in those days, like Tracy Smothers and a lot of, they just had a ton of guys that had worked in Memphis, Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Lawler. A lot of those guys were still coming back to
Territories were so
Evansville.
big back then, right? Like that
Yeah.
was when
Yeah.
the territory, that was right before the territories kind
Yes.
of shifted to what we call the indie scenes
Yeah.
now.
Just a quick history lesson for Evansville wrestling. Memphis wrestling promoted Evansville every week for and every Wednesday for years and years. Finally, they had pulled out of Evansville. They were kind of at the tail end of that. And then another promoter stepped in. He ended up being another dear friend too. So yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember who was the first referee that you talked to? Do you remember that guy? Do you
Yeah.
remember his
Mark
name
Vance.
or?
Yeah. He's the guy that trained me. So after the show, I talked to him, Mark Vance. I said, hey, how do you get into this? He said, I'll tell you what, because I'm just some high school kid at the time. He doesn't know me. He gave me his phone number, said, give me a call. So that I remember this too, like that. It's crazy. That little piece of paper had it pinned on my cork board in my room for a couple months. And I just was scared to call him, I guess. I don't know. And I
Mm.
remember just thinking, like, if I'm going to call him, I need to do it. And for one day out of the blue, like 3 months later, I called him and he remembered me and he said, yeah, I didn't think he was going to call. So I said, well, hey, I'm still interested. So I started going to shows with him. Every Sunday we'd meet. There was one of the wrestlers had a ring in his backyard. We would train. So I learned how to take bumps, learned how to do all this crazy stuff. And that's kind of what started. And then July of 96 is when I had my first match, refereed my first
Dang,
match. So
man.
yeah. But yeah, it was Mark Vance. And he worked for USWA a little bit, but he was the one who trained me. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And what a good lesson too. Like, like I have found this in my career more than almost anywhere else is if you go up to a dude and you're like, dude, I'd love to learn more. I'd love
Yeah.
some help. Could you help me? That's half the battle is just having the courage to even like ask that.
Yeah.
But and then that responsibility of following up. But like dudes want to help dudes, man. They really do want to
Yeah.
help out
Yeah.
because I would say in that industry, when I was in football, I coached college football for a while as a high school coach, and like people really care about the health of their industry. And like
Mhm.
I find it in the podcasting world, like people want to interview on their podcast. They want you to be on your show because they care about themselves and what it does. But
Yeah.
bringing people in makes their industry more healthy, and finding amazing people who are dedicated and passionate is only going to make like your life better, because I'm sure Vance wanted to surround himself with dudes who really cared
Yeah.
about the game.
What was great about him, and I don't know if I've ever told this story, but like I forget what he said he was going to charge me to train me because that's part of it, and he ended up, because we got along and he just wanted to help, and he ended up giving me a sweet deal. And like, I think he charged me maybe 25% of what he ended up doing. And then he just trained me like where I started doing the programs at the shows, the
Mm,
little the more memorabilia programs, and that's how I could make my money. And he said, "All right, do this, pay me. I'll get part of it because it's his show. That's fair, and I get to keep the rest." And then the guy that was helping sell him, I gave him a little bit too. So that was the deal. I was like, so like that's what was cool. He's a great dude, wanted to help me, and like I owe so much to him. I mean,
yeah,
there's a
man.
there's a
And,
ton of people
and
I
and I
owe.
love how he made you pay,
Yeah,
because
skin in the game.
skin in the game, man. Like people who pay attention. I tell this to guys all the time. People are always looking for something for free, and they're looking to learn this and looking to learn that. But I hate to tell you all this, guys, but all information is now free. You can ask ChatGPT anything you want forever. But to have a guy that's going to invest time and energy into you, the goal is to create a win-win.
Yeah,
And it's a win for you because you get to tap into his wisdom and experience. It's a win for him because he gets you to pay him. And then you both created a scenario where it's like, here's a platform. You can go on the ring, get thrown through a table and set on fire. And then afterwards, you can sell something and we'll split
yeah,
it.
that's right. That's what's
My,
great
my
about wrestling.
tagline for
Yeah,
this podcast is step into the fire. Like, and I
yeah,
mean, like, step into your life,
yeah,
like, step,
yeah,
but literally becoming a referee. I'm pretty sure I've seen you thrown through fire, or maybe, I don't know,
yeah.
or at least near it.
I've refereed several of Kane's matches over the years, so definitely been near it. Yes.
What's the worst bump you've ever taken? Like, what's the one where
Oh,
you signed up for it and like going into it, you were like, this is gonna hurt, and it did. Like, what was
yeah.
the worst one ever, dude?
There's two that come to mind. The one that hurt the worst was probably getting hit with a stop sign in my early days. That, hey, after the match, we're gonna hit you with a stop sign. It's like, oh yeah, sure. What could be? And then I just remember this white flash of light. Guarantee that's a concussion. This is late '90s, and we didn't know anything about concussions like we do now. And I played high school football too, so I definitely had a few
Oh
concussions in my days, and that hurt. Dang it, that hurt.
man, I've talked to a lot of people. I've done like 1,500 podcasts. That's the first stop sign to the
Nobody
head.
else has been hit with a stop sign in the head.
Oh, no. Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah,
oh man, that's absolutely
yeah,
incredible. Me and
good.
my brother will always text me. Me and my brother went to some shows with Dan, and we hung
Yeah,
out and stuff. And, and we'll see something happen to you, like that time
yeah,
you like the time you got cursed recently. Oh man, he'll send me a video if I missed the
yeah.
show or something, and I'm just dying, man. It's just you may have the coolest job of anyone that I've ever seen.
I don't know. Your job's pretty cool, Shane. You get to talk to
My
some
job's all
amazing
right.
people. So yeah,
It's
yeah,
not bad. Hey, all right. So we know there's a lot of fun stuff,
yeah,
and it is cool. Like, you probably are like me. Like, you're a guy from Indiana. I'm a guy from Kentucky, and sometimes we look around and we're just like, how are we in this position to hang
yeah.
out with these people?
That how did I
Um,
get how did I get here? That's kind of
how
what I
did I
think
get here?
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah. We'll unpack that, man. That's actually a
yeah,
good thing, because like, people see Dan on TV, or they see Shane on a stage, or whatever they see, and they don't see like what all you had to go through to actually make it happen. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So like, what was like the hardest part, or maybe just some shitty parts of paying your dues and really having to prove yourself,
Yeah.
especially in that industry. I can imagine it's so like testosterone driven. It's so competitive. One of my favorite things I ever saw was like in the performance center, they used to show on TV this sign that was like, you're here to take somebody's spot. Like that's what you're here for, basically.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like, what was the hard part about coming up that you had to really pay your dues? And did you ever question yourself, like, what in the world am I doing with my
Oh
life?
yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, there's kind of two stages to my career, I guess. One getting to TNA and then getting to WWE. So, I mean, there's both unique parts that were hard about both. I don't know if you want me to talk about both or
Totally, man. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Like what was
So
what was the first chapter like of getting
yeah,
to the next level, and
yeah,
then also taking that next step into the 1% of the 1% that actually get to do this for a living?
sure. And that was like, so I remember, so I was refereeing local stuff, Kentucky, whatever. Great shows in Kentucky, by the way. Some amazing fans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they're the
uh,
best. We have they're either just here, they're coming, is that midget wrestling outfit, the
yeah,
cool one.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Those
yes,
guys, man, are
yeah.
so
Those are awesome.
fun.
They're awesome.
And
Yeah.
that is a rowdy bunch at the
Some of those
time
guys
for
are the
you.
Minniehausens. So they're great. Yeah.
Incredible, dude. All right, go ahead, my man.
But yeah, so I was just doing local stuff. I'd started refereeing for my buddy who became my buddy Bert Prentice in Nashville. And I mean, I was broke. I didn't have much money. I didn't have any debt. I was working for my dad at the time. I was kind of in and out of school, college. Do I really want to do this? What do I want to do with my life? And that's kind of when I had that moment. It's like, well, there are not many people who do that. Why couldn't it be me? And I remember Bert called me up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in working in the wrestling office with me?" So remember, I was at Hooters watching the WWF pay-per-view on a Sunday night. I got a call that night. Tuesday, I'd moved down to Nashville. And just like,
Mm.
because I was like, I just got to try, And so that was, but I was so poor. Like, and I think I had a credit card at the time, but it had like a $500 limit. And I had like $100 in the bank. And, I remember just sleeping in my truck at a rest stop in between shows. And then my buddies heard about this. Dude, what are you doing? This is dangerous. Can just come hang out, spend the night at the house here. So I ended up having some of my buddies. That's where, having that network of friends, of great guys, has been invaluable, over the
Mm.
years. So just just that struggle of trying to make it and get noticed. And that's where I had the chance to work with like Jerry Lawler at first, and just some of those legends of Memphis wrestling. So that,
Totally.
yeah, that was just those lean times I look back on. That was a fun struggle. I can look back and
and
smile
and and
now.
I look back at my stuff like that too, like especially in my more in my coaching career, like as a football coach, because I did kind of the same thing. I was like, I've got to put myself in the right place to even have a chance at
Yes.
being in the right place at the right time, because proximity is power, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, I wanted to coach football. I didn't really know how to get in it. I kind of had a dream to coach college football, but I knew you couldn't start there, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember finding this school down in Alabama that you actually could go to school to get like an athletic director degree, or they actually had a sports coaching degree, which sounds like underwater basket weaving now, but at the time it felt like my golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like I borrowed like all this money to go to the school that I was going to have to pay back, and then I moved down there and like I couldn't find a job, so I was like,
Yeah.
I had a futon, a 13-inch TV with a VCR deck, and then I had a air mattress that I would blow up in the floor so I could lay there and watch tapes, of whatever I was watching. And
Yeah.
then there was no other furniture really in the house except for a weight bench and some old weights I picked up at like a yard sale because I couldn't afford to go to a gym.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then I had to volunteer to be on the team, but this was a really storied program. It was like Rights or
Yeah.
something, you know what I'm saying, down in
Mhm.
Alabama.
Yeah.
And I just remember volunteering and working 8 hours a day for nothing, no money. I'm going into debt.
Yeah.
But that put me in a place. It was kind of like what you said. We had some Division I players and these coaches from all of these amazing Division I schools would come in, and I volunteered to be their tour guide. That was because I was like, I
Nice.
got to talk to
Yeah.
these guys. So I would just walk around with them and talk to them. And that's what opened a door for me after 1 year of coaching, volunteer coaching freshman football in the South.
Yeah.
Opened a door for me to be a graduate assistant at West Virginia, which made me more poor. I was
Yeah.
even more poor when I was a graduate assistant,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But you put yourself there and just being around that,
Yeah.
you don't know if it's going to work, but you had a chance for it to work.
And that's what, fortunately, put myself in that environment. Moving to Nashville, Tennessee, it gave me the opportunity to work some of those shows where the people who were starting TNA at the time, I got to be seen by that. So like if I'd never taken that chance on myself, never took the risk, I would have never had that opportunity. So I mean, that's
Mm-mm.
case in point. You got to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations sometimes and like, hey, this is it. That was that song, the Slim Shady song, Lose Yourself in the Moment, that was my
Yeah,
theme
yeah, yeah.
song back in '02, dude. Like I
Totally,
just
dude.
because it's now or never. This is your chance. You only get
Yeah,
one
man.
shot, and like it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it because like it was such a do or die almost. It's like it was the only in my head it's the only option. But
Totally. Yeah,
yeah,
I think about that a lot too, like that one shot. And like I've kind of like going on stage when I really hit big time, speaking to like thousands of people like every
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah,
Like, there was a part of me that was tempted to be like, haha, I set a goal and made it. But then I realized that the game was kind of infinite because one, you got to hold your spot. So you got
yeah,
to stay sharp. Two, there's always another level. I mean, it doesn't matter if you make it to WWE on, to the, freaking Texas Stadium speaking, whatever it is,
yeah,
there's always craft at the next level. You know what I'm saying? And everything is kind of your only shot. But that's kind of like not a stressful thing. That's kind of a cool thing. It's like
yeah.
I can set a goal to be somewhere and I can aim toward it. There's no guarantee, but if I treat everything like I treat every talk, like if I don't dominate this talk, I'm not going to be on stage next week, right?
Yeah.
Because we work in a results driven industry,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
And like, but you learn that by taking that first shot, and it kind of sets into you. Like when you got to
Yeah.
TNA, which for those who may not be familiar with the highest form of human art, professional wrestling,
Thank you. Yep.
everything that you ever need in life, guys, is learned in the wrestling ring. You can learn about marketing, you can learn about sales,
Yeah.
you can learn about showmanship and craft. But like
Yes.
when you got to TNA, one, how much did they pay you when you first got the job?
Oh man.
And then
Yeah.
and then how did you feel like you'd made it, or was it just time to kind of set the next goal, or did you feel like you needed to settle in and consolidate your gains? But like what was that like getting that
Well,
first big break?
I was 24 years old at the time too. So like, and I don't think I'll share it. I was making like $200 a show, which is, I mean, it's great for getting started, but like, and then I started working at the office too. But I mean, I was making $500 a week or something. It wasn't much,
Two
but hey,
thousand bucks a month, and we're gonna hit you in the head with a stop
yeah,
sign,
but
son.
like I was living my dream, man. Like, it was awesome. And like, it was my mom helped out because like in that she had a friend that lived in Nashville. I got to stay at her place for 6 months. So like I had free room and board. And then so yeah, it's just that was my goal at first. And then as I got settled in, it's like, okay, I wanted bigger and better things, but like, man, I was making it. So yeah.
What did you feel like when they're like, "We will pay you five
I
hundred
get paid
dollars
to
a
do
month"?
this? Okay, yes. The alternative was I don't know what the alternative would have been. So I was like, yeah. And I
The
was working in
alternative
the
was
office. Yeah,
to keep making nothing and do it.
exactly. Exactly.
I
And,
think
and
I
I
made.
was,
I got 300. I think I got $400 a month to be a graduate assistant, and I
yeah,
got, of course, I got free tuition, right, but not free room and board. There's this moment when you get what you want, and you're like, oh yeah, I made it. I'm getting paid. I'm coaching college football. This is incredible. I'm in the ring. I'm on TV, whatever it is. And then you realize you did not understand what you had signed up
yeah,
for, right?
yeah,
Because like when I went to my first staff meeting at West Virginia, the head coach was Rich Rodriguez. And he was amazing. Like the interview process was amazing. Just a great guy. You could tell he really cared about every single human being that he was leading, right?
yeah,
So I was so excited to get there. So I get there in like May, and I drove like 13 hours from my little hometown in Corbin to get to this meeting the next day. I didn't even
yeah,
have a place to stay. You know what I'm saying?
man.
And like, so I got a hotel, get over there. That the day before, I found a place in an apartment, signed a lease, and then I go to this first staff meeting. And it's real laid back. It's like kind of summertime. The spring ball's over. They're getting ready for other stuff. and we sat in this big U, right? And Coach Rob was here, and I was actually his graduate assistant, right? So I was working directly with him. I was
Yeah.
his guy. I washed his car. I did his paperwork. I did whatever he told me to do. I
Yeah.
was his servant for 2 years,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And I sat there and I'm soaking it all in, and he's really cool. Everybody's laid back, and he goes, "Guys, we've had a great spring camp. I want to remind everybody expectations are high. We're going to be ranked number 8 in the country going in this season. We got a great chance to maybe win a national championship and all this stuff." And he said, "The only thing we got left on the calendar this summer is football camp. After football camp, we're all going to be tired. So you got 2 weeks vacation." He looks down at a paper and he goes, "We're going to report back here on July 5th for our first team meeting for the year. And I want you guys to really have a good time on your vacation. Enjoy your families." And then he gets real. I've never seen. It was like somebody just started cut. It was like somebody was off camera and then cut a promo. Right? He just total demeanor shift. And he goes, "But when you come back at 7 a.m. on the 5th, kiss your families goodbye because your ass belongs to me until February." And I was like, "Oh no!"
Wow.
And
Wow.
dude, as I was walking back to the hotel, one, the gravity of what I'd signed up for sank in. But then I thought, I don't have a family to kiss goodbye. So I called Jocelyn and I proposed on the phone. I was like, "If we don't get married now, I may never see you again.
Wow.
So we got to get married before the 5th of July." And she got real quiet. Dude, I was on a landline phone
Oh my
calling her. Like, I'm
gosh.
talking about one
Yeah.
of them old ones, like in an office with a cord. It was
Yeah.
gray that came with the apartment. And I go, and she got real quiet. And I was like, "Welp, I guess I'm single." And after about a minute, she goes, "All right, I think we can do this on the 3rd of July." And we started planning a wedding. We got married
Yeah.
on the 3rd, drove 15 hours from Paducah all the
Wow.
way to Morgantown, West Virginia, man.
That's
But like
crazy.
you just when you have that moment, and if you can take your eye off the short term, I knew that having this on my resume would be amazing forever. Just like TNA. I mean, that's
Yeah.
still one of the great promotions of wrestling history,
Yeah.
and what a legacy like to be a part of. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You're still going. Yeah.
Did you know your wife at the time? Were you all dating or anything? Or no, you met her at a
No.
show or something, didn't
Yeah.
you?
So we actually, as a TNA show in Birmingham, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham, and she was there with her dad and sister, and one of the bad guys was yelling at her. And it kind of looked, don't listen to him. He's a jerk, And I was like, oh, that girl's kind of cute.
Oh, like during the
So
match, you're like
during the
sitting in
match,
between
yeah.
him and her,
So
the
like,
bad guy and her.
yeah. So throughout the night, like I kept kind of looking over at her, smiling, and she was smiling back. I was like, okay. So after the show, I go up and talk to her. I was like, hey, hey, my name's Dan, whatever. And she said, yeah, you're the cutest guy here tonight. I was like, me? I
Ah.
was like, well, there's some, big wrestlers there. I was like, all right, well, either, maybe there's something wrong with her, but she likes me. I don't know. No, she liked me. So,
That's amazing. What was your all's first date? What did you do?
so a month later, she actually came up to Nashville. I was living in Evansville, but working in Nashville at the time, making that commute back and forth every 2 weeks or whatever. And she came up with her sister and mom, and the ostensibly her mom had written some books, and the reason was, hey, I'd love to buy some of your mom's books. Okay, we'll come up. Hey, go on a date, while we're here. So we went around
I'll
Nashville. We
definitely
saw,
drive to get those books
yeah,
because
yeah,
like you can't mail them. I mean,
no, no,
I gotta
yeah.
have the process.
I wanted to see her again. Yeah.
Um,
And so we went to see a movie. We went to we went to, I think, Applebee's, and like it's never happened since, but like that night in Applebee's, we're sitting there, and on the TV pops up TNA, and she sees me on the TV. So she's like, oh man, this guy must be a big deal. And
oh
it's
yeah,
like, and then we never
perception's
see it.
reality, baby.
Yeah.
We know
But
this.
so it scored me some points there. But yeah, we just started talking more and more, and we both moved to Nashville. And just we met January 20th of 2007, had our first date February 20th of '07. And I knew right away, I like, all right, she's the one. So we got engaged August of '07. Actually, first I went to talk to her dad, asked for a hand of marriage, and he says, nope, you're not going to marry my daughter.
what
Okay.
what do you do for a living
Yeah,
again?
because I'm in wrestling. She's 21, I'm 29 at the time. Like, I'm 8 years
Oh
older. So
man,
like he just sees, he's just looking out for his daughter. And
totally.
finally, I guess her mom brought him around, and said, okay, well, get married. So we got married May 24th, 2008. So we've been together since.
Man, I'm glad. I love hearing origin stories like that of relationships because it makes me feel less bad about mine. I'm
Yeah.
like, I proposed over a phone, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I took my
Your first date
my
was at a
future
wrestling show,
wife
right? Yeah.
to a wrestling show in
Yeah.
Applebee's, and then her dad told me to get out of
Wrestling
town.
brings people together. That's the thing.
It really does. It really does. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing that can't be
That's
accomplished through
right.
professional
Exactly.
wrestling, guys. I'm telling you.
Forget about
We're
politics, religion. If we could just forget all about it, brings
totally.
everyone. It's the great
We're
equalizer.
all on the same team. You know
Amen.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
We're in
That's
that
right.
stadium. So that's beautiful. So like, okay, so like you all get together, but like, and then how does the jump to WWE? And I just want to like honor
Yeah.
you and like kind of acknowledge this, man. And you know this, but like, it's good to hear it from a bro. But like the accomplishment of making it to something like WWE, like, I coached at two Division I colleges. And I also coached in high school for a long time. And I know the difference between the kids think they're Division I athletes, they're not even close. And then when you
Sure.
get to Division I, of course, this is the best player at every high school, probably the best player in their state, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, on this
Yeah.
team. And even there, you might have one guy that can get up to even get a pro day in that NFL
Yeah.
combine or be
Yeah.
drafted. That's freaking crazy. So what an amazing achievement to set a goal like that and keep digging and finally making it, man.
Yeah.
Like how did that jump happen? Like what was the luck side of it? What was the tenacity side of it?
Yeah.
And like how did you actually make it into WWE?
It's, that luck meets opportunity or whatever that phrase is. It's kind
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit of each. So it was June of 2009. I got called in. There was I didn't realize it at the time, but there's a power play going on. Jeff Jarrett was my boss. All his guys were out pretty much. And we just bought a house 2 months before and I was unemployed. And I remember going home and telling Melissa, and I was like, man, you talk about hard conversation. Like she's right there making eyes at me. But yeah,
What you really think it is, I got to tell Melissa, and then she's going to tell her dad, and he
yeah,
was
I
going
was
to be
like,
right.
I know. Yeah. But it's like, man, what do we do? And like that, going back to the struggle that getting to there, I mean, it was crazy because it's actually 4 years in between TNA when I got let go to when I officially started with WWE. And in that time, I ended up going back and working with Jeff a little bit. We did Ring King. We went to India. We did some other side projects. I refereed a bunch of I refereed college soccer, did high school basketball, football. I wrote for a newspaper. I did everything I could to try to keep it going and keep that dream of
Keep that
WWE alive.
stripe
Yeah.
shirt on the back, baby. Whatever
Yeah.
you got to do.
And,
Yeah.
and, I was still doing all the wrestling shows and try to network and stuff. And finally we made the decision to Melissa's pregnant with our oldest at the time. Now we're in late 2012 and like we're behind on our mortgage payment. I was like, we need to move back to Evansville and just reset, And I was like, this wrestling thing has been amazing, but it's not going to work out. And I remember I was working with Jeff at the time and he didn't have anything full time for me, but WWE was coming through and they were having a show in Nashville. I reached out to Road Dogg, Jesse James, New
Sir.
Age Outlaws. And I said, hey, any
Can't
chance
see
you could
me
use,
if you're
yeah.
listening to this, but I'm over here DXing right now.
Yes, that's right. But I said, hey, any chance you guys could use me as an extra? Just I was trying to make some extra money, And as he said, yeah. So they brought me in. I did the spot, and somehow, some way, they said, okay, we're gonna hire you. And like
No way,
it
man.
was
That's
just shot in the
crazy.
dark. And like I was in my head, I was resigned, not in defeat, but I was like, it's okay. I'd accepted it. It's like we had a great time. I got a reset. I got a baby coming. It's okay. And sure enough, like that was, I mean, it was a game changer.
What was the spot? What they do with you? Did you
I
like
well,
were
it's
you a
just I think
ref
they
or were
had
you just
me.
an extra or something?
I was an extra, yeah.
Yeah.
And they had back then they would have tryout matches before the shows, and I think maybe they were looking at me. I was kind of
Yeah.
hopeful, but like at the same time, like, hey, if it's okay. I'd kind of and but they I had the chance to referee a tryout match, and then even we did it was Kofi Kingston against Corey Graves in a dark match before the show started, and they had me referee it, which is almost unheard of for a referee to do it. And I was like, okay, that's a pretty good sign. And
Totally.
Mark Carano, who's not with the company anymore, but he told me backstage, he said, hey, we're going to hire you.
Wow. That's really crazy, man.
And, and this is March.
How many referees are there? How many referees are there
There's
on?
11 on the main roster.
Wow,
Yeah.
man. One of
So
11,
yeah.
dude. That's
So I get hired. The house ends up getting foreclosed on. And I, we try to keep it going, but it ended up, but I'm hired at this point. I'm telling the bank, hey, I'm about to start with WWE. And they're thinking like, whatever, dude, you're late
get
on your
out of here,
mortgage. We've
bro.
given you enough. Okay. And whatever, it is what it is. But so I'm like, all right, well, I got to find a place to live in Orlando because we got to move down there
So
too.
you literally get hired by WWE, which
Yeah.
is lifetime goals,
Have
decent
our first
money,
baby,
having your
get
first baby,
foreclosed
all this
on.
good stuff, but then
Yeah.
you lose your house at the same exact time,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
what a
Crazy.
hold in both
And
hands, man.
so then I got to go down to Orlando, and it's like, all right, I got to get a place for us to live. So my buddy, still one of my best buddies to this day, another Indiana guy, Jason Ayers, he lets me stay with him and his family while I'm down there looking for an apartment. And thank God the foreclosure hadn't hit my credit yet because we were able to get the apartment. But like, I go down there, I'm like, I got to spend a day to find a place for us to live. Melissa's got to trust me, and this is where like I'll always appreciate her because like her trust in me is like she trusts me no matter what.
Nice.
She knows I've got to make a decision that's going to affect the next 12 months of our life where we're going to live. It's like, all right, so I find a place and fly back home to Nashville. I go to the foreclosure I wanted to see it, be part of that, and never again. So we have to leave the house by June 20th, whatever it was. Me and Melissa, and Logan's 2 months old at the time. We drive up and stay with my mom and dad for about a week. Then we drive down. We stay in Alabama for a couple of days, stay with her aunt and uncle in Georgia for a couple of days, and then get down to Florida. So we were basically homeless for 2 weeks,
And you can't
technically.
really tell anyone in WWE this is going on
Exactly.
because you know what
Yes,
I'm
I
saying?
know.
It's like if the weight of the
Yeah.
I've got to
I
make it look like nothing's wrong
yeah,
because it
because
could hurt me there,
yes,
and then
yeah.
her dad is probably did her dad know anything about this
Oh, he
stuff?
knew it all. Yeah.
I told you so and Melissa over and over
He
again.
no, he wasn't like he never was like that. He was just, hey, just take care of things. He was always supportive in that. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't a toxic thing at all with him. So
Good,
which
man.
is which is yeah.
It's fun to think back, man. I remember when I first got my first head coaching job and like well, two things. I remember my first head coaching job where I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this because I wanted to get out of college football because I wanted to start a family, and it's 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
all consuming, right? And we wanted to have a baby, but we were like, we're never in the same place to have sex, so that won't work, because
That's
I'm traveling.
prerequisite. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that part. I couldn't ship her the sperm in a
Yeah.
mail order package or whatever. But like, but like, I remember going my first head coaching job. I walked in and I was like, "Where's the football?" They'd hired me, and seemed like a good opportunity. It was a new program. They had just played JV for a couple years, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where?" I get there, and I'm like, "Where's the locker room?" And they're like, "We don't have a locker room." And I'm like, "Okay." To give context to the story, this was a big band school. Okay, so like they were huge in band. I mean, they were
Okay.
dominant
Yeah.
in the band, and they were really good. Those kids
Yeah.
were impressive. I'm like,
Yeah.
take away nothing
Sure.
from them.
Sure.
They really were, but football wasn't a priority. And like, I'm like, well, where's the equipment? And they're like, come on, we'll show you. And they had put up a fence on an old shower in an abandoned like gym locker room they didn't even use for gym anymore. And
Jeez.
behind it was all this moldy, nasty secondhand equipment. And I'm like, okay, well, all we need some footballs and we can get started.
Yeah.
It's football. Just play football. Get the ball across the end zone. That's the number one rule in football,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they're like, here, they had me a bag of, they were all waterlogged and destroyed. And I'm like, I had to go raise the money to buy our first footballs
Wow.
because they didn't even have any budget for us at all.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
unbelievable. But when you look back at that, and I even think about starting my online business when I was like, I have no money to buy hosting or I have no money to buy this course. And
Yeah.
I just remember selling everything I owned to get the knowledge that I needed.
Yeah.
But you kind of appreciate it more when you look back. And I love what you just said there because you said three things I want to highlight for guys listening to this. Because I think this is things dudes suck at. You guys suck. Okay. I'm looking you in the eye because it's a mirror and I suck too sometimes, right? And
Amen.
but like you surrendered, right? You didn't give up.
Yeah. Put
You
it in God's
surrendered.
hands.
You put it in
Yeah.
God's hands, you surrender to reality. Like, this is the reality. I have responsibilities and I'm going to handle my responsibilities sometimes do have to come over my dreams, basically. And then you said a beautiful thing there. You said, I decided this is what we needed to do. And that's I think where guys get stuck because we get afraid of making the right decision, the wrong decision, giving up, letting go. And we try to hang on to everything and we lose everything because of it. But just the decision to act, the surrender to it. I even love I went to the foreclosure. I wanted to feel that because
Yeah.
that's life.
I mean, I feel it in here just talking about it, man. Yeah.
Totally, bro. And like that feeling though is not a bad feeling. It's
Yeah.
this is what it feels like when these things happen. And now I can take action and I can control it because of that feeling. When you avoid the feeling, you never get the feeling, so you don't get the benefit of the motivation to like never let it happen again.
Yeah.
And then I love that you shot your shot again. You're like, I'll shoot my shot. What does it hurt to ask? And
Yeah.
so many guys are afraid to ask, man. And
Yeah.
you're just like, hey, you got anything for me? But the
Yeah.
willingness to just jump in and do it all, man. Like, kudos to you, man, at that age to be able to fall into that and allow life to serve you. It's pretty beautiful,
It's
dude.
scary, but like so much of it, just my faith in God, like, man, that's gotten us through some tough times. And like, it's hard because like, I want to do things my way sometimes. And I found out from experience, it doesn't always go my way.
You control
And
me, Jon Snow. You know
yeah,
nothing.
that's right.
Right, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
dude.
yeah,
The only
taking
thing we can
action and
control
yeah.
we control our body and what we do, what we put in it and where we move it. I think
Yeah.
that's where I've landed at 48, almost 50 is
Yeah. You're
the
right.
only thing I can do is control who I move toward, what I do every day, like getting out of bed, where I go next, and
Yeah.
then like taking care of your health, you
Yeah.
know. And then you've been in how long have you been in WWE now? Like
13 years now. Yeah.
bro, that's a hell of a
Yeah.
run, dude. In that
That
in
I know it's crazy to think
yeah.
13 years. I mean, that's over a decade. I mean, I still mind boggled. I've been here. It's been amazing.
Do you still show up? I think any dream can get old, right?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
Flip Lifestyle, for those of you who found this podcast and you didn't know who I was, like Flip Lifestyle was this first really big thing that we did. Like it was like we had this amazing company that was kind of like off the grid. It was an education company, like selling resources to school. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, Dan's holding up a Flip Lifestyle mug as an OG Flip Lifestyler,
Yeah.
baby. We flip
It's
our lives every day.
2018 conference.
2018 conference, buddy.
Yeah.
We've been doing. I got a funny story about how that conference even started. I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
But like, that was a beautiful season of our life, like 10 years, a decade, which is a long run in podcasting. And I think in the last year I recorded podcasts full time for that. We started hitting like 100,000 downloads, like
Yeah.
every week. And I was like, dang, man, or no, I'm sorry, it was every month. Yeah, we're getting like 25, 30,000 downloads a week and like 100,000 downloads a month. So we're kind of at the height of it. And then I wrote my book that was the story of how all that came to be, plus, how to actually do it if you want to. It's called Earn More, Live More on Amazon right now. Go check it
Yeah.
out. But like it basically, it wasn't my dream anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like I had done it so well and we had succeeded more than I ever could have imagined at it. But for me, it was just like, okay, I'm ready for like the next thing, right?
Yeah.
But like to hold your passion for it, because I've actually been to shows with Dan, and like I was his date for the Hall of Fame one time, which was not
Yeah.
as weird as it sounded. Although that was the most surreal experience of my entire life when I was sitting on a bus with Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, that was crazy. But to hold your passion and to do it at the level you do it, and to see them, like I know how wrestling works, and like when I see you in a certain match on a certain card, I see the trust that they put into you. But it's a grind. Like, how have you maintained your passion and focus and excellence over such a long time? Because I think that's a thing a lot of men really struggle with, is to keep the momentum going.
I think, and thank you for those. I appreciate saying that. I think I love what I do, and like every day's different, right? So like sometimes I'm getting to work with some of the main event guys. Then there's sometimes I'm working with, guys who are just starting, or some of the ladies who are amazing. So like every day is a little bit different, and working with the different producers, and like just it's kind of like it's my art, right? This is my
Totally,
creative
bro.
outlet. So like everything's so different, and like it just keeps it fresh, and
Yeah.
going into the different cities and all the interaction with so it's I'm not gonna lie, there's times where it's never perfect, but man, it's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome,
Oh yeah,
you
man.
know?
Yeah, I love you said it's your art because I words are my art.
Yeah,
Writing books,
yeah.
articles,
That
speaking, just
voice. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah, man, I got a voice from heaven and a face for radio. I could not do anything else with my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But like when you land on something that's in your zone of competence, you can enjoy your job and you can be grateful for it. But when you do get to add that salt and pepper of art to it,
Yeah.
I do think that keeps you in the longevity of it. And like even Flip Lifestyle, that was more like a product and it was a beautiful community and we helped thousands of people and made a big impact. But the art wasn't there. It was more a science thing. It was like, this is how the online game
Yeah.
works. And I
Yeah.
think that's where I lost myself along the way with it. Whereas
Yeah.
Great Men is like, this feels like art. I get to get into the philosophy of being
Yeah.
great. You know what I'm saying? And talk
Yeah.
to other guys and learn from
Yes.
them. And you learn something new like every single week when you're talking on these podcasts, man.
The cool thing about Flip Lifestyle was that maybe it was just science, but man, you guys are great at it. And like it taught me a lot, like I don't know. So I've been doing a high school football website since 96, about the same time I started wrestling for my old alma mater, Wrights High School. They 11 state champs, one of the best in the state of
One
Indiana,
of
no
the
big deal.
greatest
Yes.
programs in American history.
The Wrights Bowl,
Vouch for that.
baby. You'll
Yes,
get
sir.
12,000 people sometimes into that stadium. It's amazing. They just renovated it too, so I'm excited to see a game. But anyway, so I've had the website and I always wanted to, I enjoyed that creative process because it's so different from wrestling, but just, I like the history of it and all and just build it up. And that's how I kind of found you guys is I wanted to make a membership site. I thought that'd be kind of really interesting because there's just so much and like it costs money to do. And so that's how I found you guys and started doing it. And, it never made a ton because like, all right, high school football about a specific high school in Evansville, Indiana. It's very niche. I get it. But it made let's make it a few $100 a month. And
Oh, you
I learned the
conjured money, bro.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. And one of my other goals since I was a little kid, and have these here, but I always wanted to write a book. And Shane at that conference in Nashville, he challenged me, hey, why don't you, because I've already written two at that point. It's like, Dan, what if you wrote a book every month for a year? I was like, what? And this is like the 12 books that I wrote.
Oh, that's incredible. I love it, dude. You
Yeah.
did go, you went straight into prolific
Yeah.
with that, dude, man.
I
You
mean, yeah.
decided to do it, dude. That's
Yeah. And
amazing.
I mean, it's still, they don't make a ton, but, they make me probably, $1,000 here or there every year. And like, and I haven't published one in like 4 years now. So, but yeah, it's just putting yourself out there and trying something new. That was what's cool about it. So you guys did do a great job with the sides of it because, hey, this is how you do it. Okay, do it.
And I think that the thing I loved most about I think what I've learned, which is probably where great men came from, actually, is like those interactions, like me and you, and just the friends that you make through those communities. I remember when you signed your first post, WWE referee, like you just signed it, and
Yeah.
Jocelyn comes up to me and goes, "You think this is real?" I said, I don't know, but I'm about to find out. And I got your phone number and just
Yeah.
called you. It was like, hey, dude,
Yeah.
big time wrestling guy right here, right? Like,
Let's
but
go.
like even like challenging you like that. Like I think that men really need that. Like we can't stand on an island and be, this motivational wizard in our own brain. You need somebody to throw the gauntlet down and our mastermind that I'm in, we always say, does the challenge exceed the skill set? Like you had written a book or two, that's fine. But what would challenge the skill set? Like even if you tried to write a book a month and you wrote 6 books instead of 12,
Yeah.
that's gonna like prove something to you. And even
Yeah.
that conference, man, like the way that so this was an event we did in Nashville. It's called Flip Your Life Live, and like we did this conference. But the reason I did that wasn't just so I could have a conference. I had no plan on being a speaker, but I went to another event. And should I name this guy? We've made up now. I think I will, and then I'll have him on the podcast and we'll talk about it. So I went to this event hosted by a buddy of mine a guy named Chris Ducker. Okay, and he's a great man, amazing family, incredible businessman. I have so much respect for him, and we've actually talked about this exact moment backstage at one of Pat Flynn's events. But like, and I don't think he meant anything by it, but like I took this as a challenge. Like when I was there, Flip Lifestyle was blowing up and people knew who we were when we started going to conferences. They would walk up to us and be like, whoa, that's the Flip Lifestyle people, right? And I'd be like, that's weird. And then like, so we go to this thing and there was a speaker dinner and there was like 6 speakers there. It was like John Lee Dumas, Lewis Howes, guy named James Schramko, who's one of my great coaches and an incredible follow online. If you ever want to follow a guy, they'll just tell you how it is. Nick Unsworth, all these people that became really awesome influencers and in the entrepreneur world. So when we walked into this dinner, a guy walked up to me. He's a buddy of mine named Jared. He walked up and he goes, "Hey, I got you a seat." And I thought we were going to go sit by Lewis Howes or something, like one of these big time guys. And a bunch of people had wrote Shane and Jocelyn on a card. They had flipped it over and they had put a thing there. And they were like, "We want to sit with you." And that was the first time I was like, whoa, our reputation is starting to grow, right? So we sit down and we end up coaching and jamming and talking all day. But Ducker, is a buddy of mine, a buddy of Pat's, and he noticed this. And he would call on me a lot during this event, and I would always get up and just be myself, which is just absolutely dumb and stupid. And I say crazy Kentucky hillbilly stuff all the time because it's just natural to me. But
that's part of your charm.
People like it apparently. And so we do this, and he comes up to me at the plate and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I really want you to speak at this conference next year." And I'm like, "Bro, I've never done that before." He goes, "Man, you're fine. We'll prepare you. It'll be great." I go home and I get an email. And I still to this day think it might have been a VA or someone signing off as Chris. I don't know if he actually said this. I think he did. Maybe. I don't know. But I'll get him on here and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I got an email that said, "Hey, man, we've thought about our offer to let you speak next year. And we've decided," and I quote, I have this, whenever I need motivation, I go back to this email. "We only want real speakers at our event."
Huh.
And Dan, I remember being as mad as I've ever been in my entire life. And Jocelyn knows me. If you tell me I'm not something or I can't do it, I will burn this world down to prove you wrong, right? Even if I don't really want to do the thing. It's probably a fault and a benefit. So I sit down and I do a lot of writing. That's how I process things. And I wrote a blog post. And I basically, in the blog post, kind of told the story, didn't name names at the time. And I said, if they won't give me their stage, I'll build my own. And this was before Flip Lifestyle was big enough to even do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're going to get 100 people to come to Nashville. We're going to charge them $1,000 and we're going to give them the best experience of their life. Yeah. And I did it. And I hosted the whole thing by myself. I spoke at almost every session all the way through.
Yeah.
And I look back at that and I'm like, that challenge from someone who was right. Let me say one thing right now. Chris Ducker was 100% right. I was not ready to be a speaker at that time. And I did not have the motivation to have that handed to me. It's like paying your dues in wrestling, right? Yeah. And that event happened out of pure spite. And then it led to this stupid speaking career that I found myself in right now, But I love the challenge, man. I like guys that are here to challenge each other, pick each other up. Like I'm almost convinced in my life, not that they're more important, but I think that having great men around you is necessary if you're going to be a great dad, if you're going to be a great husband, if you're going to be great at your career, because you need guys to say, go write 12 books or you're not ready, bro, for WWE. You got to go do some more shows. You know what I'm saying? Have you had guys challenge you like that in the industry or to tell you to up level your game or anything like that? Or have you had any mentors in your life or brothers that like kind of said, dude, you gotta do this, you got to do that?
Well, it was when we getting let go from TNA, the president at the time, Dixie Carter, she thought I was over the top, I guess. And maybe I was, but like referee in high school sports, college, like, he's like in wrestling, you could be over the top, but like I can zone it in and have that more serious approach. So that was I think a very unfair assessment of me that kind of fired me up a little bit. But as far as like mentors, like my dad, just seeing how, he had what was great. He worked for somebody and it didn't go well. He started his own business. Right. And so just seeing that example, hey, and how he managed things and like, being smart about money, making wise decisions. And, my brother, has a great job, but like, he's a great family man too. He's got his daughters are seniors and he's got a son that's a sophomore and they're amazing, amazing kids. Him and his wife, they're all, so like just seeing that's always a great. And
it seems like whenever we talk, you talk about Jarrett a lot, like Jeff Jarrett. Like,
Yeah.
as a guide, at least to model, or a guy that
Yeah.
kind of helped guide you. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe open a door or two here and there. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
like a big brother to me. I've
Yeah,
got my little brother, and I'm the oldest of two. But like Jeff, he's 10 years my senior. But like, I just see how he would handle things, and he's a guy who he had a hard time. He's battled some substance stuff,
totally, bro.
which he talks about openly, and he's on. It's not he's not done recovering. That's what I've learned about addicts. It's an ongoing process, right? He's an ongoing recovery, I think is how he puts it. So,
Totally.
but like just see how he's handled things with his family, how he does with business, just the way he looks at things.
Yeah.
I owe so much to that guy. He's another one I
I,
owe. Yeah,
I actually respect my friends who I respect my friends who battle those things
yeah,
even more than guys that it seems like it always works out for them or they always make the right call. Because
yeah,
a guy like Jeff Jarrett, who's a very famous wrestler, one of the legends of the game, I was at one of his show. I was at one of those infamous shows, one of those Mick Foley shows one time when
yeah,
him and his wife had a problem, and they came out kind of, you could see it. Like I actually
yeah,
saw this live and saw it unfold in the news, but then I also saw him come back and keep
yeah,
swinging and keep
yeah,
making those things happen. And there is a beauty in that, man. There is a beauty in seeing someone suffer, lose their house, have a substance problem, but rally around. I'm sure Jeff had a lot of guys in his life that kind of
yeah,
helped him put the pieces
yeah,
back together. You think about like DDP and all he does
yeah,
for guys that have a lot of problems,
yeah,
but you almost have to have that dark moment so you can understand people better. Like I think that my empathy in great men, all the men that I serve there is like I've been through the darkness, bro. I've had my bout with depression. I've had a
yeah,
business lose millions of dollars and have to fire, a bunch of employees and let their
yeah,
families down. And when you have those darker moments, or at least you're in proximity to see them from guys around you and you can go through it with them.
yeah,
I don't ever cut people out of my life, man, like a lot of people tell you to do. Like, oh, well, you shouldn't hang around them because they've got a problem. Like I got a really good buddy who lost $100 million company.
yeah,
And of course, a lot of people that were with them kind of turn their back on him. I talk to these people every day because, like, that guy and his wife, their talent is still evident. Like, they are
yeah,
incredible people who have a heart for serving. They just hit that hard patch. And I'll go to war with people like that over anybody
yeah,
that's always made. I had a business partner one time that said we were thinking about doing a deal with this guy. And it's a big time deal, like a sponsor or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I would never forget him. He goes, I don't want to work with him. I'm like, why? This guy's uber talented. He's like Midas touch. Everything he touches turns to gold. He said, that's the problem. That guy's never been bankrupt. And I don't know how he'll react when things get hard.
that's interesting.
And I
Yeah,
took that shit to heart, man. So
yeah.
it's so
And
beautiful.
it's inspiring to see, when people go through those struggles, and they come out of it on the other side better than ever. And it's just like,
Totally.
it's like, man, it's inspiring. And it's like, it
It's a
makes you
way
want to do
better
better.
story, and I live for the story.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's plenty in the wrestling business who, unfortunately, it did not happen. And, yeah,
I
but
get it, man. I totally
yeah,
get it, bro. But you see it happen, and you get to kind of be a part of it, and
yeah,
it's all lessons, like the whole
yeah,
way. And like I know me and you talk about this sometimes, but like we're on the road a lot. Like how many
yeah,
weeks how many, and I think there's a lot of guys listening to this, they probably work on the road. Like how many
yeah,
weeks a year are you on the road?
every week. There's times, yeah, sometimes I'll be gone for 2 days, sometimes I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
I was going about 30 to 40 weeks on the road. Last year, I did every week. I think I texted
Yeah,
you one time and I was like, I'm on a wrestling schedule right now.
yeah,
I am out every week and I'm home on
yeah.
Tuesday. And that's
There we
about it,
go.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And this year I've really slowed down. I've not went out maybe once or twice a month this year.
yeah,
But like the road is an interesting place because you still have to take care of what I call the 7 I's. These are the seven like big categories that I think every man has to focus on if they're going to have like a stable life, a good life, or like whatever it is, you're away from your family. Like, how do you handle the road? And we'll unpack some of these different categories as we go through this. But like, what does constant travel like actually do to a guy after years of doing it? Like, what does it give you and what does it take away?
it's crazy because this is all my kids have ever known, right? It's all Melissa's ever known,
Same.
my wife.
Yep.
So I wasn't traveling as much in TNA, but I mean, probably half the schedule. It was still a lot. So it gives you, it takes away time from your family. And that's what I tell people. This is the hardest part about the job is that time away. But it gives me so much more in that when I am home, that's I get to go. I get to help coach their soccer team or volunteer at the school or, just
Like
do.
absolute presence when you
Yeah.
actually are
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that, yeah, that's the blessing of it because it's not easy. And then I get to take them with me sometimes too, which is great.
Mhm.
I got to take them to England last year. We've been to
Yeah.
Niagara
Those were
Falls.
great
We've been
pictures,
to,
man.
oh
I was
yeah,
following along, dude. That was so good. I was so
yeah,
jealous.
yeah. We just got back from Zion National Park, out in St. George, Utah. It's beautiful. So like all this cool stuff I get to do with my family. That's what it gives me too. It's just, but it's not easy. You're on the road and you have to. I don't go out, I don't go out partying with the guys. There's some that do, which is great, but I'm happily married and I want to stay that way. So
Amen, brother.
yeah,
Amen, dude.
yeah, just keep an
It's
eye on
also
the
interesting
prize.
your gig. Like when I'm gone, it's funny because my kids don't know anything different either. They were basically babies when we started all this madness.
Yeah,
And but when I'm on the road, like they come with me sometimes and they've seen me on stage and they've worked events and they've done these things. But like when I'm on the road, I'm kind of like off the grid because we're not on TV, even if we're in an arena. And
yeah,
and it's weird because it's kind of like house shows. Like sometimes I'm talking to like 100 people in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and other times I'm talking to 10,000 people in Los
yeah,
Angeles, right?
yeah.
And they hear
Very
this
similar.
thing, but they can't relate. But your kids can tune in, kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
on TV. That's got to be weird. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Julia, she waves at me on screen and she gets upset when
Oh,
I don't wave back. So
he just
yeah,
didn't see that time, baby. It's
yeah,
fine.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, you didn't see the wave? Oh, sorry.
Do,
Yeah,
do the kids at school think it's cool? Like, do
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I bet when you come in,
yeah.
you're like, "That's my dad."
Yeah. Hey, aren't you a WWE referee? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah,
All I got is I can outbench my kids' other dads with. That's it. I can throw weight, but that's about it. That's all I got.
yeah.
Everything else is dumb. So good. And
So
so
yeah,
you take care of your like relationship by guarding it and setting up boundaries of what you
yeah,
do on the road. That's beautiful. But like how do you take care of like yourself? Like, the road is challenging because man, when you've been in an airport all day or your flight got delayed and
yeah,
like how do you take care of your physical body because you are a performer, you are an athlete, like you
yeah,
are out there. How do you take care of your physical body, which is like the seat of the soul? Like without it, if your body breaks down, you're not in the ring
yeah, yeah,
and you can't be at the soccer game. So how do you take care of
yeah.
your body while you're on the road?
So important. And I slacked off a little bit this summer, but now the kids are back in school, getting in the gym. And I worked with a personal trainer for like 9 months last year just to kickstart because it'd been like 10 years since I'd been in the gym last year. And I
Beautiful.
driving back from Iowa, I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger's one of his audiobooks. It's like, all right, this fired me up. Let's go. So
That'll do
like,
it
yeah.
every time, baby.
I was like, I don't want to look like a girly man.
Yeah, man. I heard a
So
great
yeah,
piece of
just
advice.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, I just so getting in the gym and being consistent about it. And like I said, it's full disclosure. I dropped off over the summer, but about to get back in and just being, doing that and just being cognizant of, what I put in my body. And, I'm not perfect. I love me some In and Out when I'm in California
Heck yeah.
or Culver's burgers, but just not eat too much crap.
Yeah, man. I think that like one my new book, it's called Emanations: A Philosophy for Great Men, and I do talk about this a lot because when I went through a really bad depression, my body got me out of it. Like I
Yeah.
went to the gym, I picked up the heaviest things I could, I built my body back up, I did everything I could to rebuild myself because I was 280 pounds, overweight, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came and saw me in the hospital, which I will never
I remember. Yeah.
ever forget that, man. Like seeing my boys show up.
It's
I'm
tough seeing you like that, man.
Yeah, it
It was
sucked, dude.
tough.
But what a lesson. It was just so beautiful that like I realized how fragile I was. I realized how I realized I'd done some of it to myself and I had control over it and to an extent, right? But God, man, I I have that picture, man, on my phone, and I go back and look at it sometimes of me and you in the hospital. And I'm just so grateful for you, dude, because it was just so dark. It was in the middle of COVID. Only one person could come at a time. People were scared to come because they didn't want to get sick and nobody knew what was going on. And man, you just passing through, you showed up, bro.
Yeah.
And like that was one of the things that got me through it for real, Dan.
Yeah.
I know I've thanked you and I love you, man. And I'm
I love you too, buddy.
grateful. that you
Well, I'm
showed up.
grateful for you too. Grateful for you too. We just so happened to have a show in Corbin, and you couldn't make it because he was in the hospital. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna pop in see him. And I got to the room, he was sleeping, and I remember you, hey Dan.
I didn't know if I was dreaming, dude. I was in a
Yeah.
fever, and I was like, is Dan Engler really standing in my
Yeah.
room right now? Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so beautiful, man. It was
Yeah.
amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, even moments like that are even better than like the fun times we've had because it's
Yeah.
like you just see people like showing up for you, you know.
Yeah.
And what I it's funny because I fell back to this when I got over this, and it was about 8 weeks later. I finally got healthy enough to try to make it back on stage.
Yeah.
But like I don't I think it was Triple H that said you guys think I'm joking when I think everything in my life is based on professional wrestling, right? And I heard him talk. He was doing an interview where he was telling a young wrestler. The wrestler was like letting his body go a little bit, and he was like, "The first thing you do when you get off the airplane and get to the hotel is go to the gym before you even go to your room." And I started doing that. And when I would travel, I would be like, I would check in and I'd wear my workout clothes on the airplane. And I would just go straight into the weight room. I didn't care if they had dumbbells or anything they had. And I would get my workout done. And there is just something about putting your body first that makes you capable of taking care of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because that is putting your oxygen mask on first in the
Yeah.
crash, and you don't realize it until you lose it. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
And
But the
I think,
rhythm of it is okay too. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
return to rhythm. It's fine to get out of
Yes.
rhythm every once in a
Yeah.
while. Take a break.
That's being okay, forgiving yourself for a little bit, but knowing, all right, I'm getting back on track. And I think that's what helped me last year is like just having that accountability. The
Mm,
personal trainer, I mean, it was an extra $290 a month. We didn't really need to spend, but like talking to Melissa's like, hey, this is important because to me, I didn't want my physical appearance to get in the way of the success I wanted to have in the wrestling ring.
mm,
Right. And it's
mm.
like, because I was getting that way where it's like, all right, I mean, I wasn't bad, but like you could tell, all right, he needs to drop a few pounds. And like I
Yeah,
was very happy with how my body was able to transform some. So I still got long ways to go, but I'm on the way.
yeah. And also too, like when I'm speaking, I'm one of those speakers who loses 5 pounds on stage in 2 hours. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
going hard in the
Yeah.
paint. And like as in a I mean, if you're not in cardiovascular shape to move around the ring and be where
Yeah.
you got to be, but even like I don't care if you have a desk job. Like if you weigh 300 pounds, it's your job is going to be easier at 200. I don't care if you hate
Yeah.
it or not. It's just
Yeah.
going to be better when you do that. What about your mental health? One of the things about being on the road and loneliness is a big thing for men in general because
Yeah.
we've lost initiation, we've lost rites of passage, we've lost just being on the hunt with other men, and we get kind of in our silos. But like the road is a special kind of lonely, like especially
Yeah.
that third day of a 5-day trip, and you're like, dang,
Yeah.
I still got 2 more days by myself here. Like,
Yeah.
how do you take care of like connection and your mental health, like when you're out there?
I think one thing that's helped for me is because I do have a lot of downtime in between, like, we'll be at the building for 12 hours, but then like, all right, what do I do in the hotel or waiting around? So I'll go see stuff. I'll go for hikes when I'm on the road, but also like for mental, I'll try to challenge myself, like either working on my high school football stuff, which is, fun, or like I've actually gotten back and re-enrolled in college. So like
Nice.
doing classwork there. So
What are you going for? What are you trying to?
back at USI, University of Southern Indiana, professional studies. So it's completely online degree. It's kind of the generic catch-all, but like it's cool because it's kind of a la carte. I've taken classes on sport management, taken classes on psychology, project
Keeping your mind
management.
interested in
Yeah,
things.
the geology of gemstones, which was crazy. As a freshman level class, that's the hardest class I've taken ever. Maybe it's like, what am I doing here? Yeah,
I've
but yeah, it
listen.
was
I've
fun.
taken a stop sign to the head, but
Yeah, I
geology
know.
of
Yeah.
gemstones, that's where maybe that's why the class
Hey,
was so hard.
yeah. Hey, that's my oldest Logan. He's home from school
What's going on,
today because
Logan?
he almost broke his toe and was playing soccer yesterday. But
He probably doesn't remember me, but I've watched that kid grow up
yeah,
from
that's
afar,
okay.
man.
He can't hear you, but that's okay.
That's all right, bro.
Yeah, and he's got 17,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
Let's
Chugs.
go. What's his
Yeah,
YouTube channel? What is it?
Chugs. Choogz. He's awesome.
CHOO. All right, let's go, baby. We'll all
Yeah,
go blow him up
he's
when we get
awesome.
off here, dude.
All right, get out of here.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah,
I love it. My son, I had a beautiful encounter recently where I'm with Brian Shaw, the world's strongest man guy.
yeah,
And we got connected, and just such a great dude. And like I'm just kind of hanging out with him and helping him with some different things, speaking and stuff like that. And like my son came in the room one day, just like your son just did.
Yeah.
He was like, "Was that Brian Shaw on the Zoom?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I met him. You know what I'm saying?" A buddy of mine. Do you know Sam Feeney? Do you remember Sam Feeney from Flip
Huh.
Lifestyle? He was a Flip Lifestyle guy. Anyway, he wrote his book, and like, so we got connected through that. And he was just like, because I hang out with people like that all the time, but it's
Yeah.
like he just saw it right there, and that's one of the guys he follows. And my son went and started a TikTok weightlifting, and dude's getting 1,000 views a day
No
now
way. That's
on that
awesome.
thing, man.
That's
Like
so cool.
he just records his workouts and his journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's initiation, man. Your son seeing you strive and fail and pick
Yeah.
yourself back up, and hearing stories of how you got in it and lost your house,
Yeah.
like we've lost that along the way because men have stopped reaching for great things. And
Yeah.
if you don't reach for a great life that you want, your kids will see you accept a life that you don't.
Yeah.
And that just seeing our kids, he had on a YTC shirt, baby. He got the tribal chief. He's repping the tribal chief, so he's
That's right.
looking at Roman Reigns. The
Yeah.
ones are always up,
Yeah.
baby. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
he's seen his dad do those things, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
With the kids is we try to relay that our family story, like the struggles we've been through. They know all that stuff, like we don't
Mm.
hide that kind of stuff. Like, and we want them to see, hey, there's another way besides that traditional 9 to 5, besides, hey, dad's going back to college, but you don't have to go to college if it's something he wants to be a YouTuber. And like, so many people would say, no, you can't do that. And those same people would say, hey, you can't be a pro wrestling referee. So
100%,
for
man.
those people who try to keep him down, say, F you, buddy.
And if yeah, all day, every day.
Yeah.
All right. And like I posted a thing on Instagram last night, and it said in quotes, it said what did it say? It said something like accept reality. Like how people are saying like get real or like
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
not reality. Like accept reality. And I just put LOL no.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
we're here to create reality. We're not here to
Yes.
accept it. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir.
Do you have other guys that you've drawn to that you do stuff with on the road for like connection and stuff? You said you didn't go out and party and stuff. And I know like
Yeah.
I do that. I never did that
Yeah.
either when I was on the road.
Yeah.
But like I had a
Me.
few buddies that we like to talk about philosophy. So we just go get a bourbon and a cigar and we'd
Yeah.
talk about Epictetus for
Yeah.
5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of times if we have some downtime, I'll go out with the other referees. We have the SmackDown referees. We have a great, it's a family, we
Oh
look out
man.
for each other. It's a team, and that's, so we'll go do cool stuff. We'll talk, go watch a movie, go explore something, like go to a freaking Egypt museum and when we're in Italy or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah, man.
So yeah,
You
just having
gotta
those.
have connection,
Yeah.
man. Real
And,
world connection.
yeah. My buddy David Weber, he was Mortimer Plumtree in TNA. We've been best buddies for like 20 something years.
Wait, what did you
We,
say his name was? Mortimer what?
Mortimer Plumtree. He's the man. He's the man. Just
I
an
love it,
awesome
man.
guy. And we've been buddies forever. And he always believed in me. Like, there's certain guys, I had some friends that have unfortunately passed, but you having those guys in your life that you can talk to. And it might be, hey, I haven't, it might go like 6 months between talking to somebody, but you instantly reconnect, just having those people in your life.
Yeah,
That
you
makes
just
all the
pick back
difference.
up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so, looking back, there's a lot of guys out there chasing dreams, and they got to keep chasing them whether they get them or not. It's the journey,
Yeah.
not the destination. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
people, I've been to the top of the mountain, and sometimes it's not what it cracks up to be. I've been on top of another mountain that was a little bit different, and I thought that one was awesome. So you just keep going till you find it. But I mean, you got the dream, dude. Like you made it. You make a great living. You get to have all these amazing, interesting people. You go out on the road. You got your systems in place to take care of your physical health, your mental health. I know you do some things like in your financial health, like investing in real estate or whatever it is. Looking back on a continuing journey, you're still going. I mean, I think that Dan Engler is going to be a referee in the WWE Hall of Fame someday, baby. I just don't know if he's going to go in as Rudy or Dan. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But what's still hard? Like what still challenges you? Like maybe there's some thorns in your side. Your kids are getting older. Like what are these new challenges that you're finding that you're still facing while you're out there living the actual dream that you set out to
I think
accomplish?
personally, just with kids, like Logan's 13, he's a teenager now. And that's a whole new chapter. Like, man, we got a teenage kid and he's like up to here on me. He's almost as tall as I am. So like any day he's going to pass me. But
Isaac outlifted me on a lift 2 weeks ago for the
no
first time
way.
ever. He got more reps than I did
Oh
on the
my
same
gosh.
weight. And I was
Oh,
like,
he hasn't let you
oh
forget that, I bet.
no,
Yeah.
I was like,
He'll
not yet,
never.
young lion. I'm doubling down. I was at
Yeah.
3 days a week. I'm going back to 5.
Oh
You know,
man, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah,
oh
just
man.
being there for the kids and trying to help them figure out, because these are very important years, these years he's about to face, and doing my best to be a great dad for him, and
Mm.
connecting with my wife and date nights and stuff. And, we need to do more of that. We don't do that enough. So,
Boy.
yeah.
Just
And then,
investing in all that you've got to kind of take it to the next level, man.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
not losing sight of that's one of my big things I've learned as I'm approaching half a century is that there's always these categories in your life: your physical health, your friendships, your mental health, your income,
yeah,
your family, your future, your beliefs, all these different things that we go through and do it. And you are enough, but there's never enough time to be 100% in every area of your life.
yeah,
And that's actually given me a lot more peace this year more than any year in my life. Is
yeah,
it's okay for us to have these seasons. It's okay. Like our kids, we travel a lot, right? And I'm the same as you. I'm like, I'm man, did I miss something there? But what I started looking at, I had a coach that was like, what are the benefits of you being on the road a lot? Nobody had ever asked me that. It was just like, what are the challenges? There are
yeah,
challenges and they're real and they need to be addressed. And my kids are independent. Isaac this summer was like, I don't want to play sports anymore. I want to go get a job. He goes and gets 2 jobs, works all summer, hyper
dang,
independent. I never even know where he is half the time except for Life 360.
yeah,
But then, like,
yeah,
when he comes home, he's telling me about his day and he's doing all these things. I'm like, I don't think he would be as competent a young man if he had not seen his dad go out on the road and have to make some calls by himself. And I don't think
yeah,
he would be 6 foot, 215 pounds. We may need to get him in a ring sooner or later, bro.
yeah.
But like,
Let's
he's
go.
just growing, man. But like,
Yeah,
it's like, if he hadn't saw me almost die and change my health, and that
yeah,
challenge that was terrible gave him an example of why you don't let yourself get in that way.
yeah,
And I bet that Logan's going to have all these things where he's like, man, I saw my dad go out and provide. I saw my dad enjoy his life and career and not die and martyr himself just to be at a random game on a Saturday. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
He was always there for the milestones and the moments, but he also gave me a chance to go become my own man.
yeah.
Right. So there's
That's
a
the
lot of
hope.
beauty in it
Yeah,
too, man, and the challenges.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned like modeling for your kids. Like we had, a big Dave Ramsey fan from years ago, right? And I kind of got away
Totally.
from that. We got into real estate, and I'd used a HELOC to refinance, and we were doing points games. I had 15 credit cards at one point, dude.
Oh, bro, I
Stupid.
got 15 now.
Oh, okay. Well, all
I
right.
don't
I'm not
use
gonna
them. I
shame
only
you.
use 2.
Yeah. But
I just want all that available when I
yeah.
need it because
Yeah.
there
No,
might
I'm
be a
with you.
day I
And
need it.
and I'm not gonna shame you. But for me, it's just like I got really good at spinning all these plates. And then I just kind of looked up one day as like, if I drop one plate, I'm kind of screwed, And like we were doing the points and mileage and all that stuff. And like I wanted to show my kids how are they gonna have to learn all that? I want
Right.
to be a good example for them, and that let's keep it. I'm gonna solve instead of trying to optimize every little thing, we're gonna solve for peace. And that meant we ended up
Mm,
selling, we had 3 rental houses. They were doing okay, but like it kept me up at night and just like
solve for
gone.
peace. What a
Yeah.
great quote,
Yeah.
man.
So we sold those. We're completely out of debt except for the house. So just modeling that for my kids, I wanted them to see that, hey, there is a different way to do it, but mom and dad see, hey, this is not that it's not sustainable, because we could still be doing it and be doing okay,
You're
but like,
passing a particular lesson on to them that you
yeah,
all learned in
that's how I want
hopes
them
that
to.
it could give them that lesson as context for whatever they want to decide
Yeah,
to do,
yeah,
basically.
because I'd rather them try to do that and keep it simple than try to do all this crazy fancy stuff. Like
Dude,
we
my
don't have
buddy
keep it
Dustin, my
simple.
business partner, he is the
Yeah,
real estate guru of the century. He has a
yeah,
podcast called Master Passive Income. Shameless
yeah,
plug for Dustin Heiner, one of the greatest heart for people I've ever
yeah,
seen, probably ever. And like he does all this stuff, and I was the same way, dude. I had like 3 or 4 rental properties at one time, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. This doesn't make me
yeah,
feel good knowing that
yeah.
that's all there. Now I do invest in the stock market, but that's more
Same.
like
Yeah,
boring Warren Buffett 20% of your income every month into
Yeah.
the same
Index
boring
fund. I don't even
funds.
look at it. Yeah.
Don't even look at it. And I hope
Yeah.
I'm okay someday. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Right? That kind of deal.
Yeah.
I always tell my kids in those moments, though, like Isaac came to me one time and he was just talking about his life. He's starting to really, he'll be 18 in November, which is freaking crazy.
That is crazy.
And I think he was like 4. But let's say, how old was he? No, he was like 8 or 9 at Flip Your Life Live, in
Yeah,
2018. We were
man.
just talking about life, and I was like, "What are your goals?" He goes, "Well, my goals are definitely to be stronger than you." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a great goal. I want
Yeah.
you to be stronger than
Yeah.
me."
Heck
And
yeah.
then he said something interesting, and he goes, "And at some point in my life, I got to make more money than my dad." And I was like, "Okay, wait a minute. Like, one, I do like kids having higher expectations than I had growing up because I didn't know this was even possible, you
Mhm.
know." But then we had to talk about that, about what that was about, and like, of course, my kids are like big goals. I want to do these careers, I want to do this stuff. But I sat him down and I was like, listen, I if you want that to be your goal, that's fine. Money can solve a lot of problems. It's really fun to try to earn it, and
Yeah.
be ready though, because you're going to fall on your face, and there's going to be
Yeah.
some very challenging moments that most people turn back from before you do that.
Yeah.
But I also tried to contextualize it by saying, Isaac, you see what I'm doing now, but you have to do what I did
Yeah.
to do what I do. Don't feel bad if you're 25 years old and you're not doing what dad's doing at 48,
Yeah.
because like you got to go on the indies, bro. You got to sleep in your car sometimes, bro. You
Yeah.
got to worry if your kids are going to eat, bro. And you got to go sit through a mortgage falling
Yeah.
apart, bro. And
Yeah.
like, I think with context on that, it's like, yeah, like you can do anything if you want, if you're willing to suffer for it
Yeah.
for a while, but don't compare yourself to me, right? Because I want you to be better than me. I want
Yeah.
you to accomplish things, but I don't want you to accomplish them because dad did these, so I'm going to do these.
Yeah.
I want to see you pick what you do and be better at me than I could ever be at that thing. And the money is not the judgment of that. It's, are
Yeah.
you happy? Are you in your art? Do you have a chance to work on your craft? Are you surrounded by great people? And are you competing with yourself? If you can do those things, bro, I hope you're a
Yeah.
billionaire and you take Elon Musk's job. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or make a good living and just say, Dad, I want to protect my peace and just come home at night. That's
Yeah.
cool too, man.
Yeah.
I used to dog the W2s, but sometimes I envy those guys.
Yeah. I mean, and not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur, right? Or like travel like we do and stuff. And like my brother, he's a W-2 guy. And like, man, he's doing a great job raising his family. And
Totally.
I
So
admire
my
the heck out
brothers,
of
man.
him, you
I
know?
admire my brothers more than anything in the
Yeah.
world, man, because we all have our own challenge. Everything is a bucket of challenges.
Yeah.
Everything is a bucket of benefits. And at the end of the day, are you content and happy?
Yeah.
And are you striving for that next thing? Like, and this was a struggle I had 2 years ago. Is like, man, look what I did. What else could I possibly do to top something like this?
Yeah.
And like, I wonder if like, do you think about, the day that there is no WWE, the day that there isn't, which can come at any time, and you don't know, you're
Sure.
in the corporate world, you don't know what's going on.
Sure.
But like, what does Dan Engler aim at now? Like,
Yeah.
that he's in the thick of it. Like, what do you think that adventure is, that aim is, that life beyond when you come back down the mountain you climbed? You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know, and that's the exciting part about it.
Ah, my man.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
So
greatest
yeah,
phrase in the English language, baby.
yeah. To me, like I know I'm 48 and I'm pretty good health. God willing, I can do this as long as I want to, but hey, something happens, I could get hurt. I can't do it anymore. And then what? So I think, okay, maybe there's something else I could do behind the scenes. I worked in talent relations for a little bit.
Triple H
There's
might throw another chest through your shin.
yeah, exactly. You never know. But, just thinking, okay, what can I do? What's the next adventure? I love what I'm doing now, and I hope I get to do this for a long time, but like again, who knows? And just being whether I'm with WWE till I retire or whether I get hurt or let go tomorrow, we're going to be okay.
Mm.
We've done we've worked really hard to put ourselves in a financial spot where we're debt free. We have a nice emergency fund. I can breathe a lot better now
Totally, bro.
with
Yeah,
that. So
man.
that gives us a lot of peace of mind. And knowing that, hey, my faith is like, all right, I don't have all the answers. And that's scary sometimes, but like we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, man. Last question here. One thing that I fell into, I think there was about a 2 year period where I started believing my own hype. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that was a beautiful growth path. I've worked through it now, but my identity got wrapped up in being air quotes third person Shane Sams. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like this entrepreneur, this successful guy, this influencer, this whatever, the speaker, it's hard not to when you walk off a stage and you got a line of people waiting to take a picture of you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Same thing like right now, like I would guess I see this as the deep historian of wrestling lore that I am. Guys get wrapped up in that, just like rock stars or anything else. And like even just being like where you are, like it could be easy to get wrapped up in Dan is the referee guy and
Yeah.
like the identity of that. Who do you look at the man in the mirror and see? Like what is your core identity, not the performance, not the job, not the man, who puts on the striped shirt every week. Like how do you ground yourself in who you really are as a person and kind of hang on to that in the midst of success?
Great question. I think just I love where I'm at and not only just in life, but like where we live, Evansville is not too big, it's not too small. So I get to go out and see all these giant cities and New York's amazing, blah, blah, blah. But like I love coming home to Indiana where people are quote unquote normal.
Totally. And you can
And
go to Walmart and nobody
yeah, yeah.
recognize
I
you or something.
I joke
You
that I
look
can,
you are the
yeah.
most Clark Kent dude I've ever seen, man.
Well,
Like when
that's
I
my
see you
joke is like,
now,
yeah,
dude, when you are in the ring, I'm like, who is that? Like that is
yeah,
I don't, that's not my friend. But then like me and you were just walking around eating
yeah.
dinner, and I'm like, what is happening right now, man? It's so
That's my joke. I usually wear glasses. I didn't wear them for the podcast, the reflection. I got my contacts in, but my joke is, Clark Kent Superman, and that's why nobody recognizes me.
true, dude. It's so
But
true, man.
no, it's just that's the nice thing with being a referee too, is like I can kind of hide in plain sight almost. People know me. A lot of people know me from wrestling in Evansville, but people know me from here forever since I was a kid. So like just I don't know, being keeping humble. We go to church every week, or at least when I'm home, we do. So staying grounded there, just looking at myself and saying, hey, my job is to take care of my family, be Melissa's husband, Logan, Micah, Juliet's dad. That's number
Mm,
one job right there. And then, go out and play wrestling for a little bit and come home, do it all over again.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
if all men could just say instead of I'm going to work, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play construction for a little while. I'm gonna go play podcaster for a little
Yeah.
while. I'm gonna go play banker for a little
Yeah.
while. I think that we would all find a lot more greatness in our life.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan Engler, man. Oh man, I love you, dude. I'm so glad that we got to. I'm just so glad that like in this short life that we live, like we got to find each other and
Yeah.
connect. You're one of the real ones, bro. I absolutely love you to death. I'm so
Love you
thankful
too,
you came on
buddy.
the podcast and
Yeah.
shared. But
Thank you for having
how
me.
can people follow along with the Refolution? How can
Oh
people
man.
find Dan
Hashtag
Engler on social
Refolution.
media?
Instagram is Dan Engler 123. I'm on TikTok also, and we have a ton of stuff. We've always posted with a bunch of the other refs on online too. So Twitter is Dan Engler WWE or X, sorry. But yeah, just follow along there. Of course, WWE every Friday night on SmackDown. You can see me wearing the gray and black stripes, not the
That's
black and
right,
white
baby.
stripes anymore. But yeah.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
All right, bro. Love you, man. Thanks for being on the
love you, buddy.
podcast.
Thanks, Shane.
All right, man. That was my interview with my good friend, WWE referee, the man that started the Refolution himself, Dan Engler. Man, what a journey to be able to connect with such amazing people. That's why you got to get in community. Dan was a member of my community over when I ran Flip Lifestyle for a long time. We bonded really over our deep love for professional wrestling. People make fun of me for it, but I really do believe it's the highest form of human art, man. It's like it's just everything you could ever imagine rolled into one. I mean, it's drama, it's comedy, it's sales, it's marketing. It is a unique experience to be in a stadium full of 100,000 people and everybody's on the same team. And we can all learn a lot from professional wrestling fans and professional wrestling. And Dan Engler really is one of the greatest men I've ever met. I mean, just a solid dude, believes what he believes, stands for his values, and he's a guy that shows up. I mean, he's a guy that I know that I can text if I'm having a bad day. He's a guy that I know when I see him celebrate. I mean, I love texting Dan, on the weekends when I catch a clip or something of him in it on, X, or I watch a show. And I'm like, bro, dude, it's so good to see you in your element. It's so good to see you in your art. And, just to encourage him and to honor him. And also, he knows I got his back. If he ever needs anything from me, he can do that. And maybe you're a guy out there that doesn't have a lot of that in your life. Maybe you don't have a lot of community. Maybe you're looking for some brothers. You're looking for a place where you can go and you can be real, you can be seen, you can be heard, you can be known. That place is the Great Men Brotherhood at greatmen.org. We have multiple levels of membership over there. We've got a free tier where you can come in and, we ask a simple question every day to all of our members. How do you feel? It's something that guys don't get asked enough. We are expected to hold the container for everyone in our life. And a lot of times nobody checks on dad. Nobody checks on the husband. Nobody checks on the man that's holding it all together, because you look like you've got it together all the time, and you do, but there is a strain to that. So you can come in. It's a place you can, if you're depressed, you can talk about it. Nobody's going to try to solve your problem. If you're happy, we can celebrate you. You're right. If you're anxious, we can talk about that. We can dial in on what's causing the anxiety, because you're only anxious about things you care about and love. Let's figure out a path forward to relieve that anxiety. And we also hang out once a week in an area we call the Forge. We have this thing we call Great Men Eat Lunch Together. When I was a school teacher, I remember eating alone for over a decade and how lonely that was. And a lot of guys, maybe you're out working. Maybe you're running to Arby's to get a freaking roast beef sandwich because you ain't got time for your next meeting. But we have lunches together. We're adding some calls soon where we can do some dinners together. And we just get together at lunchtime, get together at dinner time, and we just hang out. We just check in. It's a great time to hear other voices, see other faces, and get to know people at a deeper level. And then we also have what we call the Circle. The Circle is our most committed membership tier. We meet twice a week and we hang out and we get our lives in rhythm. We work together on plans and strategies to get our bodies in shape and get us healthy again, to connect with other men on a deeper level, where we've got those brothers in our life that'll show up at the hospital or celebrate us when we win. We get in there and we talk about men's mental health. We are in a mental health crisis in the modern world when it comes to men, because we've been neglected in that. I mean, it's something like 5 times as many men commit suicide every single month than women. That should alert all of us that we need to be in space together and taking care of our mental health. If you're an entrepreneur, we talk about business. If you're a professional, we talk about work and the grind to make sure that you can make the most out of your career. We talk about family, marriage, that inner circle, our kids, parenting, how to be great dads, great husbands, and the people and the men that our family need. We talk about investing, because the guy that you're going to be 30 years from now is depending on you right now to make good financial decisions and get it right. And we talk about all kinds of topics, from philosophy to belief to faith, and also just surrendering and letting it all go and seeing what happens next in that great I don't know that Dan talked about earlier. So we would love to have you over at greatmen.org. Go over there and check it out. Join the membership tier that's for you. Again, we do have a free tier where you can come in and you can participate, and you can be a part of the brotherhood. We go on trips every year. We go on multiple trips a year, guys trips, where we get in the woods, we hang out around a fire, we smoke cigars. And also every single week, I'm going to be telling you about the Great Men Gathering that's going to be happening in Denver, Colorado in April of 2027, where we're going to have a big event, have a lot of amazing speakers, and just get in a place where there's just a bunch of dudes, and I love them. You can't live without them. But there's not going to be any women there. It's just going to be the guys. There's going to be the fellas. We're going to be hanging out. We got a great deal for that event. Tickets going to be about $97, and we've got a deal with the hotel where there's only going to be like $99 for the room. Bring a brother, bring a friend, and come hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. You can find out all about that stuff over at greatmen.org. That's all the time we have for this week. Tune in next week when I'll have another great man on the Great Men podcast. Until then, I'll be hanging out in the Great Men Brotherhood. I'll see you there.